Hey everybody, I'm here with Sealy for the top 64 finals. For our first match here, we are going to have Lord-Triss against Necrotal, who I'm sure a lot of you in chat are very excited to be seeing. But how are you doing today, Sealy?
I'm doing really good. We have the Gwent back up and running, so I think we're in for a treat. Trying it with all of these games coming up. Of course, we have the winners finals coming up here, and we'll get to know who will join open number 4. I believe Hana-chan and Chase has already claimed their spots for that one, so today we'll be able to find out who will claim the next 2 spots. Pretty big stakes here for the tournament. Open number 4 spot, of course, to be claimed.
Yeah, and I guess with that, let's hop right into the deck lists. Starting us out, we're going to start with Lord-Triss's lists. Lord-Triss has brought Fruits of Yizgith, Line Pocket, Tactical Decision, and Reckless Flurry. Skellige being not something you're seeing a whole lot of in Gwent this season. A lot of the time you're going to see like Scoia'tael in this slot, but choosing to bring the Skellige. But looking at this Fruits of Yizgith deck, we got all the usual suspects. We got She Who Knows, Bloody Mistress, Mamuna, Royal Decree, Corinthier. Iteran to combo with that Corinthier as well as the leader ability. But yeah, anything really standing out to you in this list, or just all look pretty standard?
It does look very standard to me. We do see a little bit of value control running the Parasite as well as the Doragary. Both of them can be nice just because if you only run a Doragary, the lock target might be purified, but here you have a little bit of extra control with the Parasite included as well. One off Megascope can be really nice on either your Self-Eaters or a Griffin, but a very threat-heavy list likes to play threats after threats. No defender in this one, rather going for... Yep, we have the Decree, we have the Rat Catcheress, and some of these mid Persian golds. And we can move on to the lined pockets list. Now, this one is playing a Jacques, which can be really useful if you're going to a short round 3. Other than that, you have the usual payoff cards for Syndicate, just really, really strong golds. You have the Horson Jr., the Justice Cleaver, as well as the Furco. An interesting thing in this list, however, is of course the Tavern Brawl. It seems to have replaced something like Horson's Freak Show here, which is definitely an interesting cut. You might just be saying that it usually can kill an engine and then it gets rebuked or removed by any other 5 removal. So it's a bit of an interesting choice, cutting that and adding the Tavern Brawl, especially in an open list, but I think it can find its value. And then, of course, Philippa, really important card in something like a mirror, or being able to steal your opponent's engines might be really good for this list.
Yeah, some decks just happen to have a pretty hard time playing around Tavern Brawl even when they know about it, and Furco available to pull that art, where otherwise the Horson's Freak Show that would be in the slot would otherwise be pretty hard to find. You only have the Vivaldi Bank to filter through your deck for that. Moving on here, we got Tactical Decision. Hyperthin really got popular this season with the buff to Dodric in pretty much every... I think this is the main change that has caused people to really revisit the Hyperthin deck. Just the 2 extra points of power on Dodric, making it an 8 for 8, really helps with the Snowdrop, as well as just making your hands a little more palatable in the early rounds. Having a bad hand has always been one of those classic problems for Hyperthin, where if things don't come out in round 1 and 2, you either get 2-0'd or you're not able to get your thinning set for round 3, but Dodric helps smooth all of that out while also being pretty good points. Now, a notable change here that we didn't normally see for Hyperthin is he's choosing to play Defender in this deck instead of, I think you were
Yeah.
saying earlier, Royal Decree was popular
Yeah.
previously. What are your thoughts on
So
this?
yeah, the thing is basically you're cutting your Royal Decree to play the Fion. And the reason for why the Defender is really strong in this list is because it protects your really tall units potentially from any tall removal, or it can help give you a yen target if your opponent efficiently can remove your units in a short round 3, so that you have something to target and your yen doesn't become bricked. Of course, this tech choice does cost a little bit. So in order to fit the thinning that you kind of missed by cutting Royal Decree, you're going for the Imperial Brigades and hoping that you can tutor them out, of course, while having soldiers on the board. And then, of course, a sneaky Imperial Diviner here in Lord-Triss's list. I'm wondering what the purpose of that one is. Potentially to remove any poisons or bounties, or maybe even a sneaky mirror tech against Wongan, who I know is running pretty much the exact list without the the Diviner. So yeah, a pretty cool list. Should have a lot of points. Also, cutting the Decree might make you finding your Dodek or your Snowdrop a little bit more difficult. But when this list draws well, I would say it's extremely strong. So let's check out the last list here. Like Trident mentioned, a Reckless Flurry instead of Scoia'tael. Well, this is a super nice deck to play on red coin, as it historically can, you can push your opponent quite well with it. We can also see that Lord-Triss definitely is checking for some tall things here, potentially Hyper Thin. We see Morkvarg, we see Geralt's Axii, and Geralt of Rivia, along with Heat Wave. So there's a lot of tall removal going on for this one. Really, really expecting to be good against something like Hyper Thin. As well as the Fury Merchant tech there in the bronze department definitely tells us that Hyper Thin is a list that Lord-Triss is after. With this version of Reckless Flurry, also quite good against something like Scoia'tael with double Gutting Slash and the Stunning Blow, of course, to remove any of those annoying engines that Scoia'tael can put on the board. What do you think about this one, Trident?
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to catch the Fury Merchant. That card can
Yeah.
be a blowout in the hyper thin matchup, where if your opponent tries to thin the one and just leave the Imperial Golem in the deck, all of a sudden, boom, a Fury Merchant. The Golem is now in my deck, and I'm going to give you like a stunning blow or something that you really can't make use of, and the game is sort of just over. So, gonna have to play around that if that matchup ever comes up. I guess we should hop over to Necrotal's deck lists then. Necrotal choosing to bring
Sounds
Imprisonment,
good.
Fruits of Yizgith, Precision Strike, and Lined Pockets. So no Skellige in this list, and choosing to play Imprisonment instead of the Hyperthin deck. Starting us out here on Imprisonment, this seems to be sort of like the spiritual successor to the Ball decks. Rather than playing Ball, the deck is making use of the new Terra Nova card. And then filling those provisions in some other ways. So playing Bribery in the 8 provision slot, has a Menno for some reliability, still playing Dead Man's Tongue, still playing the Brothen's Joachim Coup package, double Blight Makers, a little bit of control in the bronzes with Eternity Joust, and an Assassination. And to make sure that Terra Nova has things to summon, there are 2 Mage Torturers as well in the deck.
Yeah, this list definitely can be powerful. Now, in order for you to be able to run the Vincent and the Bribery, you definitely have to make some sacrifices. And the sacrifices in this list is cutting Gorther, Gavade, and Cantarella, which can make the Hyperthin matchup against Lord-Triss a little bit scary. Definitely Hyperthin Gorther, Cantarella Gorther can be really efficient in dealing with Hyperthin. So it'll be interesting to see if cutting these 2 cards will really pay off for Necrotal, being able to run that Bribery, being able to run something like Vincent van Vorlehem. But other than that, quite a strong Nilfgaard list that has consistently proven its power, quite flexible as well in what it can do. Let's take a look at the Fruits of Yizgith deck. Monsters everywhere. We all know why it is very, very strong. We can see an interesting cut here, though. There is no She Who Knows, but rather banking on a lot of removal or more control options. We put it that way. We have the Aguara for an extra lock, maybe even removing a lock on your side of the board. The Ada Striga, really nice removal, again, for something like Scoia'tael's engines. It can be efficient, along with the Doragary as well. We can see a Necromancy here instead of a Decree, so valuing being able to tutor something twice. Of course, if you do miss out on a Necromancy in round 1 with this list, you're a little bit unhappy, but maybe it might just pay off for Necrotal.
Yeah, double Megascope in the list as well to synergize with Iteran. Make copies of either Griffin or Self-Eater, probably. Both pretty high impact targets. Obviously plays for a 9 on the Griffin. Doesn't trigger the Thrives, but this deck is lighter on Thrive than some other of the Fruits of Yizgith deck we've seen before. It's pretty much just the leader. There's no Endraga Larvas anywhere to be seen here. But yeah, moving on, we got this Precision Strike Alzur deck, choosing to completely forego playing Forest Whisperer, and instead just jamming Alzur, plays the Sorceresses and Elven Seers, as well as a small Matic package to give a little bit of control. Double Lacerate in the deck to really try to punish those wide strategies, gives the deck another target for Simlas that potentially just deals 4 damage to a row at the end of the game if you don't want to split those up earlier on. Yeah, any thoughts on this Precision Strike deck?
Yeah, Alzur is definitely interesting to see in the high provision department, but potentially the payoff from running something like Alzur might be even better than running a Feign Death and the Whisperers that you mentioned. Alzur, of course, is quite easy to trigger. It doesn't get removed by a heat wave like the scenario would. So if you're able to set up your orbs in the graveyard, you can efficiently trigger your Alzur and also get the orb payoff there, which might be really nice. Also quite reliable ways here of finding the Alzur and being able to play it, as we see the Necromancy and the Decree. So really not wanting to miss out on that Alzur. I think that is a respectable strategy for sure. So let's see if this Alzur can high roll some really nice ones, or is he gonna bring Necrotal down and potentially low roll a Mentor and maybe a Ron mid? Those are cards you don't really want to see from Alzur. We'll see about that one.
Yeah, lots of bad hits.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of good hits too. You can hit like Ignatius or Procession of Penance. Yeah.
Great sword.
But the value overall should be pretty good. Yeah, Great Sword is an excellent card to hit from that as well. Let's check out the Lined Pockets list. Now, this one is running the Witchfinder and Graydon. This, I believe, is a very standard list that you see on Ladder a lot. It is definitely has its perks against anything tall, like the Graydon against Hyperthin is a strong card, as well as the Witchfinder in kind of against midrange NG is a pretty decent card as well. You can do some nice plays with that one, blocking your row from spies to protect your Crown Splitter pocket is something that you can do. Other than that, again, just really strong Syndicate golds to hopefully carry you the game. Cleaver and Drill, nothing to mess with. If you get that off in your Crown Splitter pocket, you have a bunch of points as long as you have the coins. So yeah, strong list.
Yeah, notably despite monsters being the most common banned in this tournament, we are still seeing a lot of small bounty packages with Graydons and Slanders and Witchfinders, so that package is finding value outside of just the monsters matchup.
Absolutely. And speaking of bans, Trinet, do you have any updates for us in terms of that?
I believe both of the Fruits of Yizgith decks were banned, so we're not going to be seeing any monsters in this series, but we got all the rest. Have any predictions on how the series is going to go?
Well, this is interesting. I would say right off the bat, Lord-Triss should be quite favored with his lineup, but Necrotal definitely can turn things around, of course, here. But the Hyper thing definitely is a little bit scary from Lord-Triss. That one will be going through, considering monsters was banned here. Also, the Precision Strike might be in a tight spot. It really might want round control and such. So we'll see how it goes, but yeah, both of these players have basically all the chances of claiming the next open spot. So regardless, we'll have some really close games, I think.
Yeah, for sure. The winner of the series, of course, qualifies their slot for Gwent Open number 4, I believe taking place next month. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Or wait, there's an open this month, so it would be in October, I think.
October should be right, yeah. That's right. We just had Gwent Open number 3. And
yes, there's qualifiers next month as well, right? This is the first first set of qualifiers for Open number 4.
Exactly. So 2 spots for the Open number 4 have been claimed, and now we're seeing the 2 next spots, and after that, of course, a couple more are available. So yeah, a lot on the line. Of course, that would be the last Open before Masters takes place. Yep. Definitely a lot on the line for these players.
Yeah, and whoever loses this match is not out. This is the winner's bracket final. There will still be one more shot for the player here, as well as the winner between Nequiz and Wanged. So we'll be watching that as well right after this.
Exactly. Do we have any updates on the coins? Who will be going on blue and who will be responding on red?
That is a great question. I believe we do. As I click on this link, it looks like Necrotal is going to be on blue coin.
Okay.
What do you think he's going to choose to bring on blue here?
Well, Scoia'tael might need a blue coin just in order to guarantee having last say. That can be very important. Or round control in general, I think, with this list becomes important. So I think Precision Strike definitely at some point wants the blue coin. You could go for blue coin lined pockets if you expect to snipe a mirror, but I'm not sure if Necrotal can take lined pockets on blue before he sees Skellige from red coin. So I do believe that we might see Precision Strike here, maybe even Imprisonment if you really want the round control with that. What about you? Any thoughts on that?
That all sounds right to me. I think, yeah, the Precision Strike deck probably wants to be getting round control in some way. It's
Yeah,
interesting. This is the first tournament in a long time where it feels like there isn't an R around that just always wants to be on blue coin.
for sure.
Yeah.
I think there are like a lot of pretty red coin heavy lists, and then you have like these flex factions. So monsters, for example, is happy to go on either. I think this imprisonment list as well is kind of happy to go on either coin, but definitely in terms of like trying to snipe those mirrors, sometimes with Syndicate, trying to get the precision strike on blue is definitely quite important. So yeah, a lot of flex lists and not really like, I mean, line pockets usually is quite nice on red coin, but in a mirror, you want to be on blue coin. So it's a little bit difficult, and you have to play some mind games to really cue that right matchup.
Yeah, like traditionally Madoc decks tend to like being on red coin, but there's so much other stuff in the Scoia'tael deck that traditionally wants to be on blue coin. Stuff like Dunka, stuff like Sources with Dolblathana, and just generally wanting to get round control for your last play with Gord. Sort of throws a wrench
Yeah,
into all of that.
definitely. Now, what do you think about Lord-Triss? Is he gonna go for the classic Skellige red coin and try to just put your opponent in a tough spot by pushing this very, red coin? Yeah, it's a deck that likes red coin and abusing that coin for sure.
I would suspect so. We were talking about this a little bit before we went live, how the Skellige deck seems really reliant on red coin, where before in the past you could maybe see it as more of a flex faction. With the way the matchups currently go, deck really wants to be on red.
Yep, that is true. I am a little bit worried for Lord-Triss and his Geralt. Is Vanilla Geralt going to get consistent value into Necrotal's deck? I don't think so. Against Nilfgaard, probably, but other than that, like I feel like Necrotal can play around this Geralt quite efficiently.
Yeah, so for the Nilfgaard deck, there's the Joachim that's gonna hit. Maybe some of the assimilates get big enough, but nothing crazy there. Against Fruits of Isgith, that's banned, so that doesn't even matter. Against P-Strike, maybe on blue coin, you have to worry about what you use your TA on. You can't just go Dunka TA, you can't go Sorceress TA. That could be an issue. Maybe Alzer summons something that's gigantic, but you don't really want to use your Geralt on a third or a fourth of an Alzer.
Yeah, for sure. Now it's going to be really interesting to see what this first queue is going to come down to. And then how do we proceed after that? Will Skellige go through? Will it get a win potentially for Red Coin? And of course, everything. It's a card game, so there's a lot of draw dependent stuff. Yeah, definitely going to be a tight one from both of our players.
Just as an update, the invites have gone out. We should be getting started very shortly. Looks like we got 8 minutes and 30 seconds on the match timer. So as soon as everybody accepts, we should be good to get going. Not here to keep everybody waiting, just...
But of course, we do have a delay, meaning our opponent definitely can't just watch the stream and see what the other one is playing. So it all we're half an hour in the past, basically, while our players are playing a little bit before us. So no issues there. Everything is fair and square. And then as soon as we get into these games, you're going to see some really nice Gwent action for the weekend. I think that's always a highlight whenever there are qualifiers at any sort of competitive Gwent event.
Yeah. Just always the most exciting time of the Gwent season when we get qualifiers and tournaments.
For sure.
New deck lists get discovered sometimes. We occasionally see some cool innovations come from these tournaments.
Definitely, and different strategies, sometimes new ones, sometimes decks you haven't seen for a long time. I mean, the Skellige type of list has been around for a really long time, but it hasn't really been seen that much. But now in the tournament, here it is, really enjoying that red coin. But yeah, we seem to be jumping into the games.
Yep, we've got game number 1 here between Lord-Triss and Necrotal. I don't have audio for some reason. Let's fix that.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, Necrotal chose to take Syndicate here on blue instead of something like Scoia'tael. So the main mission for Necrotal definitely here on blue coin is do not lose on even against Skellige, because if you do, you're in a really, really tough spot. Let's see if Necrotal can do that here.
Also, make sure you're respecting Vanilla Geralt at all times. That might be one of the reasons why he chose not to bring the ST deck here. It's just easier to play around Geralt with the Syndicate deck, and he sees this as an easier opportunity to get it through if he's expecting the Skellige Q from Lord-Triss.
Now, the discard package is a very effective tool of putting points on the board fast for Skellige, and Lord-Triss does have them in hand. Of course, he opens here with a totem, really showing us that he is about to win on even. At least that is the mission. And with Coral and Berna, you definitely have a lot of points output in this one.
Yeah, Necrotal respecting this a lot, just jamming the Professor into round 1 here on blue coin, making sure that he's not going to fall too far behind, committing that expensive card there. 12-4 as the totem gets clicked to transform the remaining Abomination, and the discard package begins to flow. Coral comes on down, discards probably the Skirmisher first, but we'll see. Nope, just goes straight to the Morgwarg.
The Morgwarg is out on the board. We still have more discards there. Berna, of course, sitting, waiting for some nice targets. And the Scald. Now, Necrotal doesn't have a clean way of actually dealing with this Coral. So out comes the dip. Going to 9 coins, getting that both thinned out of your deck for future rounds and finding your gold cards nicely.
Yep. Clicking on the tactical advantage as well, now that he's down to 7 cards. Just, probably not going to be ahead to pass, but yeah, Berna coming down here. Discarding, finds the 2 Skirmishers as well, and both of those are going to get discarded. No longer needs to keep that Scald around. 28-14, so all of a sudden, doubling Necrotal's points with the discard package.
This is definitely why I was a little bit worried about the Syndicate queue on blue coin before knowing that Skellige is out. Just because Skellige definitely has those points. Of course, you can miss the discard package early on, which might be a little bit tough. But yeah, Necrotal definitely, if he intends on fighting for this round, we're going to have to see some commitment come out, and that is exactly what he does. Justice is here.
Yeah, playing the 3 Crown Splitter targets, so does have 1 left over there to pull with the Justice. Not bricked. But, still behind here. Does not seem to matter, as Lord-Triss is going to play another card. Looks like
here
the
comes
Avalok.
The Avalok. Nice to play it, as it does still keep the point gap quite big, and it gets value over turns. So it's a quite a nice moment to play that. Of course, here comes Drill, getting rid of that Coral. Making sure that there won't be any more discarding to do. This is a big commitment from Syndicate, but definitely having to defend this push here, because losing on even is very difficult to come back from that as Syndicate.
Yeah, second leader charge getting committed here just to spend those coins on the Drill. It is the most efficient spender in the matchup. And we see Lord-Triss. Yep. Just taking a stunning blow.
Really efficient. Yeah.
Not emphasizing on getting ahead, giving Necrotal the pass. And,
being happy about seeing all of these cards. Now Lord-Triss might not be too concerned about winning on even anymore, because he got one of those cards that really is so many points for Syndicate. All right. And
got a few of them. He got Justice, he got Professor, he got the Tunnel Drill. Like, got a lot out. Seeing the Kaduk played to make up the points. I believe with the Rain, he could have played the Scald, but didn't want to risk drawing a gold there.
Yeah, that would be slightly unfortunate, going for the blind Scald. All right, we found a Marjoram as well that enables the Bride of the Sea as well, and gives it a resurrection target there. Just kind of a value resurrect that you can pull on like a Quen or the Axii for some good value. Nice proactive play here that Lord-Triss has access to, so he's going to put that down on the board.
Yep, leading on the Raging Bear. By leading on it, of course, you do not need to damage any of your units. Just plays a nice 8 for 5 on an empty board as it gets poisoned.
Yep, the Fistic. As a response, Necrotal knows he's not going to get that big poison value in this matchup. An 8 point might just be the tallest play that you are going to see.
Yep. So the Scald does end up coming down, discards that Mardro into the graveyard as the bear goes down and the boat comes out for Necrotal. Lord-Triss still ahead here. Necrotal not keeping him trapped yet, but look at this quality left over for Necrotal. We've got a Cleaver, we've got a Graydon, we've got something that gives a bounty, we've got a Horson.
Yeah. Definitely, Kurt can put the bounty on the board here. Also, Lord-Triss is in a little bit of an awkward spot because all of his plays are very reactive, while Necrotal's side of the board, I mean, if you interact with that boat, it's going to come right out, unless Necrotal is forced to spend some coins here. But Lord-Triss is not giving up on this bleed and plays out the Bear Witcher.
Yeah,
really
Bear
great
Witcher
Raiden target now. Yeah.
Yeah, true. There's the bounty. You might see it. Now, notably, still behind here, Lord-Triss does have the option to pass, and that is what he's going to do.
And there comes the Sea Jackal. Of course, a spender that does go very tall, and considering Lord-Triss's call removals here, definitely not something you want to spend too early on.
Yeah, Jackal plays pretty poorly into both Geralt of Rivia and Geralt Axii, especially with that last play. Speaking of Geralts, another Geralt come into the hands.
Now, I think Vanilla Geralt does get the kick here because it is going to be very difficult getting value on the Vanilla Geralt from Necrotal not playing very tall, and having seen the Sea Jackal, definitely worth a mulligan. And if you really need it, you can tutor it with your Geralt Quen.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see, what's this last mulligan gonna find? It gets the Freak Show. Okay, and the Slander just turns into a poison.
To set up a bounty. I think this is looking quite nice. A Fury Merchant as well. A bit of an interesting one for this matchup, not doing a whole lot for Lord-Triss.
So what are we missing? We're missing the Witchfinder. Is there anything else? Oh, there we go.
Witchfinder is
Furco.
The main one. Yeah. And here comes the Axii. Now, Lord-Triss here, of course, wants to get rid of that Cleaver, and he hits it with the first leader charge there. Classic play from Skellige, the Axii onto the Cleaver.
Yeah, full leader has been exhausted for Necrotal. Lord-Triss still with 2 charges. The points gap might be a little misleading, though. 4 coins in the bank for Necrotal now. 6 cards for Lord-Triss, 5 cards for Necrotal.
Yeah, we have to see how nice this bank is going to be for Necrotal. Let's find out where his Witchfinder is and how many coins he has to spend to get it out.
Bank could be a Royal Decree plus 3 points, or it could be a Royal Decree minus 4 points. Oh my!
Plus some points. That is definitely nice for Necrotal. Really solid draw there. Witchfinder, of course, the top card.
You'll love to see it if you're Necrotal.
Yeah. And there is the Heatwave. Not that many targets for Heatwave anyway. So it seems
but even then, with the Witchfinder getting answered, there's still that target for Graydon. Answering the Witchfinder does not also answer the bounty.
And here we go. Graydon, of course, efficiently spending some coins here. Not going above 9 here. Not going above 10. So the Vanilla Geralt cannot find a target in the Graydon.
Going back on over to Lord-Triss, we got not a whole lot. We've got a Scald that you probably don't want to play until after the Quen. It's probably not even going to do anything. Like, is there anything that you're looking for if you're Lord-Triss off the Scald?
I don't think there's anything you're looking for the Scald. If anything, you don't want to break your Quen here. So I think the Quen might just come out here. Of course, 2 targets left, one being the Bear Witcher, the other one being Geralt, Vanilla Geralt, with unfortunately no target. But now you get a shielded unit that you can play your Mardrum on from the Bride of the Sea, which is quite nice. Also, Horson getting a nice target there.
Yeah, I wonder if we're just going to see Horson come down and click to take out the Quen to deny the shield.
Seems to be the case.
does look like the line. Still a backup spender in hand for Necrotal with that Freak Show. So, even if this Horson dies, there's still that spender in the reserve. Lord-Triss gonna play the Scald. What's he find?
Fury Merchant. I don't know about that one. That is, then again, there wasn't really that much else to be seen. But, yeah.
Slightly better than the Fury Merchant.
Yeah. The Gutting Slash is definitely alright here. 6 power, but as you can see, the point gap is definitely big, and Necrotal has no shortage of spenders as the Freak Show can come down here.
He kind of has a shortage of spenders.
I suppose.
This is 4 coins wasted.
You need spenders when you can wipe out the board, though. And now, of course, the last play here is the Bread of the Sea onto the Martyrdom. Not quite doing it here for Lord-Triss. Necrotal doing a really good job at not losing on even and being able to take this matchup.
Yeah, Necrotal taking game 1 pretty cleanly here with his lined pockets.
Yeah. I think he's really happy about that because Skellige is such a tough matchup, as we could see. Lord-Triss put the points on the board very fast, and it was quite intimidating. Lucky for Necrotal, he did have the means to defend, and even though he spent out the Drill and the Justice, he could keep pretty much the rest of his good value gold cards and then still win.
It's cake time.
Northern Realms get some.
Didn't take the Self-Eater? Oh, second one.
I think Snake is making a statement.
3? Something must be wrong. Are we stuck in a loop?
Oh no. I think we're heading off to the next one. Of course, the coins will be flipped here this time around. We are going to see Lord-Triss on blue coin. Of course, Necrotal responding with the red coin. Now, the options are, of course, either the mid-range NG or Squirtle.
Yeah. I guess you
While Lord
bring the Nilfgaard on red, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a flexible list and not bad from either coin.
Yeah.
With Squirtle, around control is very, very important to get, and that might be a little bit difficult to do from red coin. But Squirtle with the Maddox could definitely be seen on red coin as well.
Yeah.
Maybe if you want to play around the Vanilla Geralt, you want to take that on red coin to kind of be, you know, not having to play a TA dunk up it, then it might get removed in other ways. Lord-Triss, on the other hand, is very likely to bring the Hyperthin, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with the Matic, you do have other things to use the TA on. Like, worst case, you end up TAing your Matic if you really want to play around the Vanilla Geralt. Obviously, it's not what you want to be doing with it, but it makes it so that you can still use your TA at least, which could potentially be an issue with some versions.
Okay. So here we go. Lord-Triss, of course, Hyperthin on blue coin. Necrotal having to respond with Squirtle on red coin. I believe this is going to be quite a tough matchup for Necrotal from red because, again, just round control is very, very valuable against Hyperthin. We do see Lord-Triss having these cards like Double Joust and Alzur's Thunder, really efficient in terms of answering Squirtle's engines. So I think winning round 1 should be fairly easy for tactical advantage.
Yeah, so Lord-Triss is playing the Defender in this version, right?
Yeah.
So if he's trying to hide behind, like, hide a bunch of stuff behind the Defender, these lacerates could end up being good, both in round 1 and potentially later on as well. In round 1, you can get the Impera Brigades, maybe some Mage Assassins? Is there any way for Mage Assassins to come out? There's a Blightmaker in the deck, but
yeah,
not in the hand.
I think I think it really depends on the round length. Lacerates, of course, are not going to be too great in shorter rounds. I think that's why Necrotal is keeping them as well, hoping that maybe in round 1 they are going to get the most value. Lord-Triss, of course, playing out the Soldier and the Dodric, wanting to clean up the hand just a little bit. Also now has the option of thinning the Impera Brigades, which is really nice to be finding here in round 1.
Yep. Decides to run out the Dodric first, get started on that deck cycling, try to fix the hand a little bit. Let's see how much Necrotal wants to respect this. No easy answers. It would cost him the Heat Wave if he wants to answer it, I believe, but...
Yep,
see.
And just playing out the Xavier, which isn't too great, not doing too much here. Of course, the graveyard does not matter too much for this version of Nilfgaard. So it's just coming out rather than maybe just playing out a engine that will instantly die.
Yeah, possibly indicative that Necrotal maybe doesn't want to fight that hard over round 1. Just going to run out one of his cards that isn't very impactful in the matchup and maybe pass early, but we'll see.
It definitely makes sense. All right, but there is the Sorceress. Of course, we can see the Double Joust, just really, really cheap and efficient answers for Lord-Triss, and this is why he's running them.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
Double Joust.
Into the Impera Brigade.
Of course.
Have to go back.
Every time. It's fine. These removal cards are good in the matchup.
In this matchup, and the reality is the Double Joust isn't going to be too great against... other matchups, but then you have the Dead Man's Tongue, of course, which you can clean them up with and potentially just discard both of the jousts in any matchup that isn't Squirtle.
Oh, Lemon's banishing the turn joust. Very quickly, second joust gets taken, killing the Seer this time. Let's see if Necrotal runs out the Sorceress.
And that is the third engine that gets very easily answered by the Thunder. It is a bit interesting because, I mean, Lord-Triss definitely wants to thin the brigades at some point, and you're kind of risking your Wanderer coming out here. So I think instead of the Thunder there, we did see the thinning just to make sure we get it down this round.
Yep. So letting Necrotal take a click on one of those things. Looks like gonna get one extra spell for the gourd.
Not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, the point cap is pretty big.
Yep.
Right now, sitting at
the
21
difference. The
difference.
point cap is big, but you do have the Simlas, of course. You can find an orb potentially from a Sorceress and set up your Alzer. Maybe Lord-Triss is hoping that the point gap is just going to be too big here for Necrotal to actually contest the round too much. But we do see some Lacerate value. It's not going to get that good in this matchup.
True. Lacerate's each playing for... Well, the first one plays for 7. Second one will play for 8. Ooh, making a bomb. Gonna move the Dodric off the range draw, maybe? Oh, nope. Just gonna set up for a bigger Lacerate.
Bigger Lacerate, and also now the Madoc has been thinned out of the deck, which is really nice for Necrotal.
Going for the orbs off the Simlas here.
Also thinning.
Thinning, setting up some carryover potentially.
And now the point gap is kind of doable.
Yeah. Orbs are still ticking for 2 more. There's that bleed happening. I think Lacerate alone might be doing it.
Yeah, Lacerate definitely doesn't look too bad here. Alright, and there we go. The Thunder is coming down there as well. Of course, putting the Vilgefortz back into the deck. You don't really want your hyper thin payoff cards until late in round 3, so it makes sense to put it back there with it.
Yeah, a lot of the time, well, outside of this deck, when you're playing Dodric, you often don't want to put your cards that you want later on the bottom, because they're at the bottom of the deck and you won't find them again. But for Hyperthin specifically, it's exactly where you want them, because you thin so well, you see all of your cards by the end of the game anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. And the point gap is quite big, but surprisingly enough, these Lacerates aren't looking too bad as of now.
Yeah, they look pretty impressive. This one's playing for, what, 10 now? The next one plays for 11?
Yep.
Yeah. You get an extra point on the tortoise, but lose a point to the dog.
Now, here Lord-Triss just takes the pass. He does not want the Wanderer to come out. This is really nice for Necrotal. Just being able to have this round control can be quite big.
Leader is getting used. Interesting.
Did the last rate just get discarded by accident?
I am not sure. I was fixing my player settings.
I believe we just saw a discard on the lacerate.
That's
by accident.
Awkward.
Okay. Yeah, well, that is definitely not what you want to see. The leader, you don't really want to get out there. I think that was not intentional.
Huh. Well.
All right. Well, the lacerate got discarded and the leader got used. Probably not intentional there from Necrotal, unfortunately. That means Lord-Triss is kind of happy, I think, to see that.
I think so. Still has his Wanderers. Necrotal's got a bunch of bombs and a Sage in hand. They're gonna play the Elven Scribe, sorry, is the card's current name.
Yeah, that is the courage, Dave. And we could also see the Royal Decree. The Alzur go back into the deck so that Royal Decree is able to tutor it and then trigger the carryover orbs in the graveyard and instantly being able to proc the Alzur. But I think Lord-Triss is really comfortable here, kind of just being able to defend the bleed. He has a Snowdrop. That is quite huge, the Snowdrop, and the leader is so many points for this deck and also boosts the Wanderer. And I think Lord-Triss is going to have to answer with that.
It's a lot of points.
What is Alzur going to roll?
A lot of points. 6!
Alright.
Oh wait, that one's actually terrifying. Wait.
That is a little bit scary. It has the order ability. Sabrina? No! Oh no,
that was not the way I expected that to go poorly.
Ooh. Alright. That is so not happy for, Alzur is crying at a corner right now. That is like, it's kind of a high-risk, high payoff card in terms of, you could roll really well. You can also roll like this, and of course the Were-Rat.
The way I thought that was going to go wrong was going to be the Were-Rat was going to consume like a 10 or a 12, and then both would get heat-waved. That was so much worse.
That was so much worse. Wow. Poor Alzur. Okay, and I think Lord-Triss here just plays out the DMT. Of course there is a heat wave, so I'm not sure you want to go really too tall. But the nice thing about playing DMT before Snowdrop is that Snowdrop will draw a little bit more consistently for you. And yeah, the Wanderer also coming out, so committing your Snowdrop and your leader is definitely committal.
Yeah. As the Wanderer pops out there, staying ahead for Lord-Triss. Even if Necrotal does decide, yeah, he can't take the heat wave here.
Yeah. There comes the bomb, and Lord-Triss going for the Snowdrop. And nice cards to put back there if you keep the Blightmaker, put the Golem and the Mage Assassin back into your deck, still staying ahead. Maybe even not just having to use the leader until round 3. Ideal situation for Lord-Triss.
Yeah. Finding that Blightmaker was huge. Not only is it a good thinning card, but it's just something to play this round that doesn't require the leader to get used. Finding Blightmaker instead of one of his hyper-thin payoffs is very convenient.
This Were-Rat is just, wow. An interesting card to pull from Alzur for sure. Alright, and this means the Heat Wave would just eat up the Defender. Kind of one of the reasons why Defender is in the deck in the first place. It likes to either eat up a Heat Wave or protect any other tall unit. So yeah, Lord-Triss being able to take his leader to round 3 without having to use it is very big here.
Yep. And of course, with the leader, there'll be 3 cards left in deck, so will be able to draw whatever he wants and put whatever 3 cards he wants to have in his deck at the conclusion of his leader's resolution. But it's gonna take them all here
we
anyway.
have this is just nice because I believe with the leader, you should be able to have the golem as the only card in deck because of the mage assassin. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, the mage assassin, a fawn, and golem go back.
Yeah.
Everything's perfect. Hyper thin,
And
perfectly
set up.
hyper thin. Matic once
Very
again
nice.
going to the wrong row.
Necrotal's gonna
no.
have a chat with this unruly Maddock after this game and say, hey, you better do something better for the next game.
It's okay. With the fawn, it doesn't matter. I also don't know if there's even another bomb that's gonna come out. I don't think a Neuromancy is gonna be a bomb.
And of course here Lord-Triss has the last say, meaning that this just the Triss is going to be big in case we see a Gourd before anything. We might see the Heat Wave, but the Vilgefortz can finish off. Just Lord-Triss has so many points here. I don't think Necrotal can do much here in terms of having enough points.
Yeah, here comes the Neuromancy. Gets a Necromancy. I don't think this matters at all. There's no orbs, right? Those are all played on the Alzir. Yeah, here's a Sorceress to try to get something together, but it's just gonna die to
You
the
could
Triss.
roll another bomb for the Maddock, potentially, which would probably be the best value. But yeah, there's the Triss. Here comes the Heat Wave. Of course, the Gourd being the next play, and Vilgefortz can then choose to either just tutor out the Golem or get rid of the Gourd. Either way, it is.
Not even
Yeah.
gonna play it out. Seen enough.
It is. Suit it up. He knows what's up. There could only be one more card in Lord-Triss's hand, and that is Vilgefortz. And that already says enough. So, yeah, Squirtle, just a really, really tough matchup for Squirtle, I think, in general.
Yeah, the removal too. Just having access to 2 Tourney Joust and an Alzur's Thunder. The Squirtle deck just plays so poorly against cheap removal that deals 4 or 5 damage. What are we taking out of these pigs?
Definitely. Oh,
There we go.
Yeah,
There's
there
the
we
Selfie.
go.
Taking the real cards. Ooh. Going down to a Skellige Keg.
Oh, this is going to be a good one.
Nope, not a good
Dominic,
one.
alright.
Not even a little bit.
Sig getting some love, though. We can appreciate that. Okay, of course, coins will be swapped again for the next game, where we have Necrotal on blue this time, and he could choose to run either the Imprisonment deck or the Squirtle from Blue Coin. Let's see, are we going to play around potential Vanilla Geralt round 1, so we don't want to bring our Squirtle on Blue Coin, or is it going to be just the Squirtle anyway? Probably going to hit the Skellige matchup again.
Yeah, probably. I do not know. Yeah, I think there's an argument to be made to try to bring the P-Strike deck on red just because of the Vanilla Geralt, but I don't think it's that big of a consideration. And if you just really want to play your Nilfgaard deck on red instead, then you're probably just going to do that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. There is still Syndicate for Lord-Triss now that we have the score of 1-1. Syndicate through for Necrotal, and Hyperthin Nilfgaard through for Lord-Triss.
Yep, Lord-Triss with Lined Pockets and Flurry, Necrotal with Imprisonment and P-Strike. As we go into game number 3 here, Necrotal is bringing the Imprisonment on blue.
Yeah. Following the strategy of not bringing this Squirtle on blue coin against Skellige, it definitely might be a pretty tough situation for Necrotal to be in, and rather just wants to bring the Squirtle, maybe ideally against,
Yeah, unfortunately the wrong matchup, the wrong Nilfgaard matchup for this Zephyri Merchant. Not sure it's doing anything here. And also not the matchup for Jousts. Skellige deck, not big on engines. It's got a Coral, but I think that's it, right? As far as things that care about living to have value.
And no Coral here in round 1. Definitely a little bit difficult for Lord-Triss to really push with this Skellige, as it typically does want to do. Necrotal, on the other hand, has not allocated any of his Blightmakers. which means his round 1 from Blue Coin might be a little bit weaker, but no worries. We see a Dead Man's Tongue, really useful in round 1, just for thinning and points on the board. I think Lord-Triss is going to have a bit of a difficult time pushing this, looking at the hand state.
Yeah. I think you're right. Necrotal just gonna lead on the Mage Infiltrator here. He has, I guess, Furcart to give some spying, as well as another Mage Infiltrator in the deck for later to make sure that his Terra Nova doesn't brick.
And Lord-Triss here responding with the Stunning Blow, maybe hoping that Necrotal is struggling a little bit with proactivity.
And it kind of was. Here we got Diplo coming down for a boat. Yeah.
Not too bad. And
there's actually some
Necrotal...
interesting options in that diplomacy. It was a 5 that is just a 5, a Disgraced Brawler that could be a 7 if there isn't 3 damage from Lord-Triss. And then there was the Spellblood Abomination, where if there's a bunch of random damage that would transform it, then it gets to absorb the random damage and turn it into a 6. I don't think...
True, I feel like...
There's a lot of decision-making.
Went with the safe play, though.
Yeah, it definitely went with the safe play, but that was a lot more of decision-making than I'm used to seeing on an Imperial Diplomacy.
Yeah, definitely. On a proactive one, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lord-Triss putting a little bit of tempo on the board. Now, Necrotal, definitely, we know that he can play the DMT. No problem. However, well, I mean, Lord-Triss could potentially tutor out the Vanilla Geralt from the Gwent if he so wanted to respond to something really tall in round 1, considering there's no Morpharg, there's no Axie. But yeah, Necrotal is definitely not really looking to play very tall here. So the plays become a little bit worrisome here.
Yep, Furcart coming down, I guess, for Dead Man's Tongue. Gonna take that
Going for it anyway.
Take the tempo, give spying to, I guess you're hoping, Birna. Not sure how excited you are to play that later, but you still got the 1 Mage Infiltrator in the deck to give spying later on. And unfortunately the spying does just go on a Skirmisher, so...
Yeah, definitely not an ideal coup, and right now that Informant doesn't have a really great target to copy, and yeah, judging by Lord-Triss's hand state, it's not going to get anything really, really great to copy either, so we'll see how this ends up working out. Here comes just a proactive Marjoram, putting it in Graveyard for the Bride of the Sea to resurrect.
Yep, but Necrotal not looking to fight over this round, just takes the pass.
Definitely fair enough. Lord-Triss here playing the cheap Gutting Slash to take the round and now has control over what will happen in round 2. What do you think, Trinet? Will we see a bleed? Where will we see a long round? I do feel like
I feel like you want to play these 2
round
Blightmakers at least, just to fix your draws. But whether that converts to a bleed to you taking like Skellige to a short round, I'm not sure. I don't know how much Terra Nova changes the dynamics here. Just like having Brothans plus Terra Nova plus like Vigo maybe.
I believe Lord-Triss won the round though, so
yeah.
But still, like you said, playing out those Blightmakers is definitely not bad. If Lord-Triss here does decide to go for the bleed, I think Lord-Triss is kind of forced to go for the bleed as well. Just long round and points. Necrotal definitely has them in a long round, so the bleed might not be a bad idea from Lord-Triss.
Yep. Just yeah, I guess all the assimilates get even better in a long round as well. With in a way, this sort of a pseudo Masquerade Ball deck is also a pseudo assimilate deck with Vigo and Terra Nova and Brothans all available, and Coup procs all your assimilates.
And Lord-Triss here does have a decent hand if he wishes to go in and bleed further. But of course, Necrotal, really efficient use of the Blightmakers, putting the points on the board and thinning, anticipating round 3. We do see Heron Kadu indicating that Lord-Triss might indeed be going for a bleed here.
Yeah, possibly. Just takes the Quartermaster out of it. A lot of the time the deck ends up having to... Ideally, you're playing Bear Witcher out of the Heron Kaduk, but so often the deck is looking for proactivity and just has to play the Kaduk a little early before the Adrenaline to either make a Quartermaster or make a Bear Witcher. And we are just going to see the pass for Lord-Triss here after the 2 Blight Makers came out.
It's going to be interesting to see in terms of points. I feel like Nilfgaard should just have so many points here in a long round, but who knows? Maybe Skellige can surprise us. Of course, we still see Coral with the Morkvarg. It definitely could be points, and bleeding with 2 Blight Makers on the board might be a little bit scary because you do have to catch up in points there.
Yeah, there's... So looking at the removal situation for Skellige, there's 2 resets. There's a Morkvarg and there's an Axii, and then there's also a Vanilla Geralt in this list, right?
Yeah.
And then the Heatwave.
You should be able to get rid of anything tall that might come down, and I believe there was a Joachim in Necrotal's list, so your tall removal definitely might get value here if we do see the Joachim come down and potentially...
Yeah.
Well,
so what are the big point threats from
Necrotal
Necrotal here? You've got... Well, I guess there's no Joachim.
Your Assimilate engines?
Yeah, so it's just the Assimilates, right? So there's Brothans, there's Artois, there's Vigo, and then the Mage Infiltrator.
Yep, that is right.
So 2 of...
But yeah, of course... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, just 2 of those will get reset at the end of the game. There's potentially a Stunning Blow to clean up one of those before it gets big. There's not a whole lot of engine value that's going to be relevant here, despite all the engines.
You might be right here. Maybe it turns out that all of these tall techs from Lord-Triss is just going to get enough value here where you don't have to worry about the long round. But yeah, no Joachim to be seen. We're not going to be playing tall.
The veteran is so good.
It's going to be interesting.
The veteran is so good. What do you do to it?
It completely screws over this poor Coral looking to obviously thin the Morkvarg at some point. And now it's looking a whole lot worse.
Well, you can... It resets on 2, right? Can you Coral and then Leader Charge, maybe?
Yeah, that could be a play. I'm just wondering if this card actually was changed at some point to trigger at 3 instead of 2.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have to say, we don't have access to Observer, so maybe someone in chat would know about that one. It's definitely not a card that is around this meta, but we'll find out here.
Looks like this is the Lion.
Okay, Leader Charge then?
Wait, no, it does trigger on 3!
It does trigger on 3. Okay. Well, Lord-Triss said, I'm going to have to deal with the consequences of this veteran anyway. So I'm just going to take this because, no matter what he does, he can't Gutting Slash it.
It's so good. It's so good.
What a pull.
It's a 10-point diplomacy.
Yeah.
Watch it eat more random pings, too. I'm ready. It's going to reset a second time.
I'm gonna carry Necrotal here completely. Wow. What
Imprisonment here, probably gonna be locking up the Coral. He's mouthing over the leader. Gives it spying first.
If you do end up leadering it, it does give the Heron Kaduk value. And since you already saw Berna, maybe you're saying, I'm not gonna see that much discard anymore from Lord-Triss, and I don't want to give him Heron Kaduk value.
Fair enough. 2 more random damage going on to the veteran.
Oh,
Are we gonna Gutting Slash it?
Yes. That is interesting. Having to Gutting Slash something like the veteran in a matchup where you really want to Gutting Slash some Assimilate engines, you're definitely not too happy about that one.
That Imperial Diplomacy was messed up. I don't know when the last time
amazing.
I saw an Imperial Diplomacy that was that good was.
Necrotal has to be happy about that one. Yeah, I wonder how these tall removals are going to work out for Lord-Triss and if he is going to get enough tall removal in this matchup. Here comes Vincent.
With no Joachim, you're not doing anything... Like, you're not trading up with the tall removals. You're just sort of stopping the engines from getting out of control. But, like, all of these engines that you're going to want to answer are putting another body in play. Like, the Brothans is making another Bronze. The Terra Nova is going to make probably a Coral. The Vigo is going to make whatever the Vigo does.
And the Big O is a bit interesting because it could get quite, whatever you spawn with that could be easily removed with the leader charges. So we'll see about that one. Also, Necrotal has to wait quite long before he actually gets something worth copying with the Duchess's informant, as it does want to come down on this Bear Witcher at some point. But it's going to take a bit of time before Lord-Triss is actually going to put that down on the board.
Yeah. It could just be the discard target to the Coral as well, if you're gonna Terra Nova into Coral. It's a Heat Wave onto a 4.
Wow. Yeah, just value removing these. And just as we can see, Lord-Triss is definitely not, the Avalok doesn't get great value considering the units were nicely placed on 2 separate rows. The Quen you don't want to play yet. The Bride of the Sea, you're not really looking to play tall before you see something like Invocation. You have the Mortborg, no value there. The Axie, no value there. And the Geralt, Vanilla Geralt. So the Heat Wave makes sense, even if it looks a bit silly.
Ooh, I like that. The Invo just to banish the Morkvarg. Doesn't go into the deck, as it was doomed, but just gets those points out. You saw your opponent just played a Heat Wave on your 4-point unit. Just force him to play proactively here, or have something else to waste removal on the Vincent. Lord-Triss not able to play Bear Witcher yet, as he's still on 7 cards, so while that would be nice to do.
Yeah, I think it's going to be either Avalok or Rite of the Sea, honestly, coming down here.
Yeah. Not be surprised to see either of those. Is there another tar removal remaining for Necrotal after the Invo's gone?
Nope. I don't believe so. The Vincent is out. The Invo is out. I believe there is a bribery, I guess, that could high roll into...
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hits. There's Vanilla Geralt, Morkvarg, and Axie.
Yeah.
It's not even much of a high roll. It might be a low roll to miss.
Yeah.
Deck plays specials.
Sure. Yep, here comes the Bride of the Sea, buffing herself up, now giving the bribery some value. Of course, tutorable there from the Menno.
Indeed. Is Necrotal gonna take it? He was mousing over the Menno pretty quick at the start of his turn. I think he knows,
it's not
yeah.
A bad play.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Here's
Bribery, some tar removal. Finds the Vanilla Geralt, the best one, I think.
There it is. Yep. Very efficiently removing this Bride of the Sea here. And Lord-Triss, of course, still has not activated the Bear Witcher, but the Avalok at this point is getting a decent value.
Yeah. Can reign the front row, not lose any value there.
The Geralt. But just like Trinet said, you really have to miss on that bribery if you're not going to find a tall removal there.
Yeah, there's just so many hits. Still no target for the Duchess's informant. Starting to kind of run out of things to stall with.
Definitely. I think we're looking at Brothens, potentially even an Artorias. See if we can go and boost any of those, any of these low power units.
Coup on Avalok is 2 assimilate triggers.
True.
That's exciting.
Coup on Avalok. Okay, and here is the Coral, looking for something to discard, and there is the Joust. Just taking the discard on the informant, maybe being a bit scared.
Yeah, it just wants to be
you
safe,
won't be seeing any target for it.
Exactly. The informant's a way that you can lose the game if the opponent just doesn't play any Bear Witchers on you.
That would be surprising, though, seeing no Bear Witchers from Lord-Triss.
It's a line sometimes against such as informant decks, though. You just consciously decide to not play any bronzes into the round. It can be hard in a 10-card round 3, but I've seen it happen.
Okay. Well, fair enough then to play around that threat. We are going to see some big plays come down from Necrotal soon with Brothens and Artorias Vigo, both like really, really nice value. And trying to play around any of the tall removal that Lord-Triss is threatening. And so far, it is looking quite nice for Necrotal. Really efficiently playing around that.
Yeah, 4-17, 1 card down at the moment, but 2 charges to 2 charges, both players with 6 points in their leader. Morkvarg coming down early, just gonna deal 1 to Coral.
Yeah. Not the ideal Morkvarg to see in this game, that's for sure.
Yep. What is this? We got the Brothens for an Emissary. Just gonna boost up one of those things on the front row to an 8.
really, really efficiently playing around the vanilla Geralt. Lord-Triss can't be happy about that one. He really wants to see something to hit.
Yeah, that might just be the best Axie you're gonna get.
Yep.
It's only getting
Definitely
worse
not a
too if you
bad
let the rain
Axie.
tick on it too.
And there is no way that is getting boosted either to Geralt vanilla Geralt range. This is really the nice thing about competitive Gwent. A list on paper can look like, oh, it has so many answers to the Joachims, and then you have all the player agency come in and really efficiently being able to play against those tall removals in an open deckless situation. Pretty nice to see.
Yep. Set points are staying sort of close, 17 to 22. But yeah, not sure that this vanilla Geralt is gonna find a target.
Yeah, definitely doesn't look great for the vanilla Geralt. And now the Joust coming in here defensively, hoping that Lord-Triss as the leader might hit the shield on Coral now.
I'm gonna start off with the Quen into a Bear Witcher.
Definitely still a good amount of points.
Taking that shield damage, the Brothan's down to a 2. Lord-Triss getting ahead here, actually.
Yeah, and here we go.
All the Vigo season informant.
Vigo on the informant, definitely. Necrotal is super happy to see that one, and triggering all of the assimilate is on the boards. Is this Artoria's the Artaud gonna?
Yeah, it's
the Geralt.
Yeah, because of the informant.
Assimilate. Yeah.
Yeah, unless the coup gets bricked, but I don't think you want to brick your own coup just to deny the Geralt.
Nope. Alright, here comes the Axie, probably on the Geralt here. The point gap is definitely still quite close, but 2 leader charges from Necrotal still left to be used, as well as the coup, which is really big on one of the Bear Witchers.
Is it Bear Witcher, or are you just inform it for more assimilate procs?
Yeah, informant and then copy the Bear Witcher.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what you can do with leader that would be better. But I think it's just informant, right?
I think so too. Even if you're Artaud, the Artaud is going to get 1 assimilate proc anyway. You can't really deny it. So being able to trigger your other assimilate engines for maximum assimilate value does seem like a decent idea.
Yeah, you can't imprisonment yourself, right? Oh, we are just going for the Bear Witcher. Maybe I'm doing math wrong.
Maybe. Can't say because I haven't been doing math at all for this one. But yeah, it's still a very, very powerful play here. And Lord-Triss does get his Geralt target, but other than that, 2 leader charges is just not going to make up the points here.
Yep.
Very close, though. Very close.
That was a round 3 for sure. Kept it within 3 points at the end there. As
Definitely.
Necrotal gonna take that.
Yeah, Necrotal here with 2 wins now, Lord-Triss with 1. Wow, interesting to see that Skellige, still being very close against Nilfgaard in a log round. I definitely anticipated that Skellige was not going to have enough points, but, getting that vanilla Geralt value there was quite nice for a Lord-Triss. Did not expect to see it.
Yeah, now Necrotal just has to get through his Precision Strike deck up against Lord-Triss's Reckless Flurry and Lined Pockets. What are your thoughts on either of those matchups? Anything?
Let's see here. Yeah, I think blue coin, you might just want to go for Syndicate, probably. I think your Skellige list should have priority on red coin over the Syndicate, but you don't want to lose on even Scoia'tael.
Yeah, I am a little worried for the Scoia'tael deck. There's
a
lot of cards in these remaining decks that make life for a 4 power unit hard to live.
Yeah, Lord-Triss we can definitely see that he stopped targeting Scoia'tael with his lineup overall. Maybe the Syndicate list actually happens to have the least answers, but it still has a lot. You have the Philippa, you have the Junior, you have cut the Freak Show, which removes one engine from Scoia'tael quite efficiently before it might get rebuked.
Yeah, it's
If
not
you
like
anticipate someone playing that.
it's not like the version that's playing Whisperers, where Dip and the Pontar is relevant removal
Yeah.
against them. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
well,
we're just going to see what will happen. But yeah, we do see Syndicate here on blue coin, hoping to get Skellige on red again if you manage to win this one when you're Lord-Triss. But of course, you don't want to lose on even to Scoia'tael. That would be a bummer.
that would be rough. Let's see if he's gonna be able to avoid it. Looking at the hand here, there is Furco to pull Justice, so that'll help hold that off. Some smuggles for proactivity as well. Looking like a pretty solid round one hand for Lord-Triss. Going over to Necrotal, we got A-Bomb and some of our engine bronzes. What are
we haven't found Simlas, and we have a orb, and we have one lacerate, so we need to, like, I believe, save either of those for Simlas. I think there is the D-bomb that Simlas could still pull if you want to play your lacerate or orb this round. Really fast removal there on the Dunka.
snapping off the Dunka? If the Dunka
Fair
lives,
enough.
yeah, if the Dunka lives, then all your other removal gets worse anyway, right? Like if all the stuff
Yeah.
gets boosted out of removal range from the hand buff, then what's the
Definitely.
point of having it?
Let's see, Lord-Triss, of course, has to keep an eye on where he places his cards. He does want to play around the lacerate. A lot of shielded units in this matchup with the Cleaver's muscles. So that one might be quite nice in terms of keeping some of that lacerate value down. But yeah, as we can see, Simlas currently is sitting in deck, and he has the double D-bomb as his double bronze target for now. Let's see if Necrotal chooses to save either the orb or the lacerate so that he can pull them out later with Simlas, but I think they might come down here in 1-1.
Yeah, I tend to like splitting up my orbs while playing the Scoia'tael deck and just trying to like do orb stuff throughout the whole game, but we will see. Looks like Lord-Triss not going to snap off the Professor. Choosing to let the
go through.
Seer go through, yep. 4-13. Is Necrotal gonna try to just play another engine out here? I say engine, but I guess they're not really engines. They just have to live a turn.
They kind of are.
They're engines in the sense they have to live, but they're not engines in
Yeah.
the sense of generating continuous value.
All right, what is Lord-Triss going to say about that one? Just take a pass. I don't want to spend anything. I'm not ready for this commitment. Let's keep it down. We're just not losing on even, and we're going to deal with the bleed. I think Necrotal is happy to see that he can, with this hand, actually quite efficiently win round number 1. But yeah, you have to be scared about losing on even when you're a Lord-Triss.
It's a lot of carryover. Unfortunately, misses the orb off the sorceress here, but does get Circle of Life to get some hand buff value. And that went on the gourd. 6 power gourd already.
That is definitely going to be a huge finishing play. Like we talked, Scoia'tael loves getting round control, and one of those reasons is obviously the gourd and being able to play it as a last save. Now, maybe Lord-Triss is hoping that there won't be a push and he can just take Syndicate into a long round without having committed anything in round 1. We'll see about that one.
Yeah.
I think it's looking like something that might happen just because the Alzer went back into the deck hoping to find either a Necromancy or Decree. Necrotal hasn't found either by round 2, so the bleed immediately is a lot weaker, not having access to Alzer and the orbs.
Yeah, deck really relies on the tempo from Alzer to really get a bleed going. Necrotal gonna run out the Elven Seer. Is this where you take the Professor? It's kind of awkward with Necrotal on 8 cards.
If Necrotal can trade this for a Professor, I would say he might just be happy about that one.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe the long round's just good enough for you. Yeah, just gonna take it.
Yeah.
Knows the bleed has to happen if Necrotal is gonna have a chance of winning. So just
Yeah.
yeah, it's a big commitment, but
Yeah. I don't know. The bleeding doesn't seem like it's gonna happen.
I mean, yeah, looking at the hands, it's difficult for
Yeah.
me to see what Necrotal is gonna do. Maybe just
Maybe
hope that
you
Alzur
still want to
alarm
get your
rounds.
Madoc out, so you might play a
Yeah.
bomb here to thin the Madoc, hopefully, for round 3. But what is the orb chain looking like? We don't have access to River right now, but I believe
I think
you
orbs
can
on...
afford to play a special.
Yeah, I think orbs are on 1.
Yeah. Oh, so you can't.
He can't. No, because he used the Sorceress, right?
Yeah, that is right. Yeah, he has to take the pass. So not thinning Madoc before round 3 and still missing so many cards is rough spot for Necrotal. He has to hope for some really good draws here.
Well, Lord-Triss gonna play some cards out of his hand to make his bank a little bit better. Maybe we'll see a self-fist tech potentially.
Not a bad idea. Self-fist tech does give you the maximum carryover. Maybe. Because you are still missing Cleaver, you're missing Drill as the Lord-Triss, which is, you want to find those cards.
Besides, he values the poison a little bit higher. Doesn't want to just play it for a couple of carryover. A single carryover.
So we see the discard so that Lord-Triss is able to see as many cards as possible here in round 3. Alright, this is going to be intense. Okay?
There's lemons.
We see Alzur and we see a Drill.
We see Alzur going back.
Of course, going back to the deck because he needs to pull it with the decree or a Necromancy, but not fighting either.
There's one more left.
Goodness. And the Simlas right now, you have to put the D-bomb back. Oh no.
What a disaster.
Oh my goodness. Necrotal cannot be happy about this. This is honestly the saddest thing when you pay like 13 provisions to put your Necromancy. Look at the deck state. Oh no. Ooh, and it's also Precision Strike in general does have a few more bricks just because of those Dryads that you have to include. That is...
I would be feeling pretty bad right now if I was Necrotal.
Yeah, Lord-Triss has the boat brick that he might feel a bit bad about.
Yeah,
when he sees the state
I'm
of
sure
Necrotal
neither player is happy right now, but I assure
Yeah.
you one of these players is more sad than the other.
Yeah. Yeah, this is looking...
Whew. Maybe last play Gord is just enough.
It's gonna be interesting. Bank can tutor out a potentially good card here for Necrotal, maybe something like Horson. Horson Jr. to be able to remove any engines that you might expect. We know there will be one from the Necromancy, but just the points that Lord-Triss should have here hit with his hand, despite the boat brick, should be quite decent. Well, you have a Fistic that doesn't go off, and you have a Tavern Brawl, which I don't know if it's gonna get great value.
Yeah, true. I mean, if Necrotal is just gonna discard cards, is that lemons that just got discarded? Really discard lemons.
Yeah. So this means he's not giving any value to like Philippa's or anything else. He's not giving value to.
Is he just hoping? Is he actually just hoping that like lacerate,
lacerates
Gord
and
wins?
Gord is gonna be enough?
Oh my.
I mean, surely you'll play out the bombs too, right?
Yeah.
Then you give Philip a value? I don't know. Do you have to just commit to the discard play here and just discard everything except for the lacerates and the heat wave and the Gord? Maybe.
Well, the bombs are worth more than the Philippa gets by stealing Madoc, right?
Fair. Or the ultimate lacerate setup, of course. Maybe moving the Crown Splitter pocket. You could leader the Furco and move one of those Crown Splitters right now. But we seem to go for a Necromancy. Yeah, just to get some orb value.
This is gonna trigger all the orbs, which gets out of Philippa range, right? Yeah.
Out of Philippa range, but into Fistic range.
Oh, you can also Bloody Good Friends and then yoink it, right? Because you have leader charges.
Yeah, that is true. Bloody Good Friends has a target
Wait, how many
now.
orbs is this?
That's a lot of orbs.
Yeah, you can use 5 charges, it
yeah.
goes to 9. You could steal it if you want. Costs you your entire bank and leader, but... I mean, that's 7 vitality.
Yeah. It does have 7 vitality, so it's a little bit of carryover. It's not
it's
like
tempting.
the worst Philippa if you're not expecting other cards here. Wow. What a round this one is. Oof.
Yeah, lots of options here. Could go for the poison, could go for the tunnel drill, just start getting value out of that.
Drill is just value, yeah. Probably gonna get moved, probably gonna get removed, but you have an almost full bank, so the drill value doesn't seem too bad, especially when the pocket is still there. I'm not sure why Necrotal didn't try to interact with the pocket there, but okay.
Just gonna go for the poison.
Just saying poison. Giving Necrotal some nice heatwave value, actually.
Yeah.
And the leader ping on the Furco would be not too bad. Oh no, having to play this orb on the Mad Dog. Oh no.
Maybe that's the Philippa. That's a pretty good Philippa.
It's a decent Philippa. Yeah, there you go.
Brutal.
Just banking into poison later.
Look, there's 2 lacerates. Anything could happen.
Yeah. Not gonna be a bad amount of value. There goes the Maddock. Kurtz doesn't want to come down on range, even though the Purify value seems quite decent. Maybe just coming down for a bounty there on the only unit that is on Necrotal's side of the board. But yeah, here's the Fistic overprofiting by quite a bit, but
don't think you mind too much when you're getting 15 points out of it. There's the heat wave.
There's a solid heat wave.
Yeah, could be worse. I've seen worse. Now, this Tavern Brawl is not doing anything. This tunnel drill's not doing anything.
I don't know about the Fistic.
It's kind of close. I don't know how big the gourd is. If the gourd is gigantic.
And you have full leader. Of course, you did discard one of your dryads. But this is definitely not terrible.
This is a significant amount of points at the end.
Wow. Is this gonna be enough?
It might be.
That would be the ultimate surprise. I'm excited.
I think it's enough.
It's gonna be enough.
I'm pretty sure this gourd is huge.
But I mean, the drill might have wanted to come down a little bit earlier, and I don't know about that Fistic though, right? Like there had to be something else to grab from there. He did play 1 Sea Jackal. Does Lord-Triss only play 1 Sea Jackal?
I'm not sure.
This game. No, there are 2 Sea Jackals. There was 1 Sea Jackal in deck. Like, I think you should have taken the drill value and then just tutor out a spender like the Sea Jackal. I'm so confused.
Maybe.
What a game.
Yeah, in the end, bunch of wasted coins and Necrotal's gonna take it.
Wow, Necrotal making it, and that is it for this series.
Yeah, that qualifies him for the Open.
Congratulations to Necrotal.
Yeah, not the end of the line for Lord-Triss though, as he still has one more match to play in the losers bracket, winner of which will also be qualifying for the Open.
Yeah, so Lord-Triss could definitely still make it. Do we know who we will be seeing in
do not
from the losers?
Have no idea. Oh, Snake is typing. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll get an update for you guys very soon. But in the meantime, yeah, huge congratulations for Necrotal making it to Open number 4. That is a very big achievement for any Gwent player. Alrighty.
Yeah, I guess we're going to cut to a break screen for a bit. Yeah, for a couple minutes. I'm going to get stuff set up, take a quick break, and we'll be back to talk about deck lists in probably about 5 minutes. Hope you guys stick around.